Great. So you have a to-do list. You find yourself, okay, today is being productive. So you start checking things off, and just to find yourself adding twice as many things back in. Have you ever felt like that? I know I have. Have you ever wondering that when would you ever catch up or be ahead of a to-do list? It's because to-do list seems like a thing that everybody has, and it's one of those things that you never finish. Have you ever wondered why? How could you ever be ahead of this? So whether you have a to-do list like this, or you have a to-do list like that. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to finally get a hand of that, how to manage it, and better yet, actually, let's tear it. Because from now on, you no longer need that to-do list, and you can finally get your life back. Well, let's just rewind a little bit. Let's not tear your to-do list quite yet. In fact, in this video, I'm going to show you 3 simple steps and turn your never-ending to-do list that make tiny impact to an actionable blueprint that make huge impact. Hi, this is Joe Lau. For years, I have this huge to-do list, and that list just never ends. Why? It's because every time when I go to a conference, I add some new stuff to it, and I get new idea, right? Not only I learn some new technique to add to the list, and on top of that, I have my own idea to add to it, right? And on top of that, every time when I attend a webinar, read a book, or staring at the window and new idea just coming up, things just keep on getting added to the list, and to a point that I couldn't even prioritize the list anymore. Because let's face it, when you have more than about like 20 to 50 or 100 items, it's just extremely hard to prioritize them because it takes time to even look at the list, right? And when you look at the list, it's just overwhelmed. So the list almost become like it's just kind of like a nook that doesn't get anything done at all. So I try to figure out, like, is there a better way to do this? And then once I discovered there's 3 steps, that's all you need to do to turn this never-ending to-do list to an actionable blueprint, and everything changes. And that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. Make sure you watch to the end of this video because I'm going to share a resource with you and show you how to work less and make more. So are you ready? Here's step number 1. When you look at your to-do list, ask yourself this question. What exactly do you want to create? What is the end result? What is the final goal that you have for this to-do list? What exactly do you want to achieve? Once you ask this question and figure out what the end is supposed to look like, whatever that is, now you're able to look at your to-do list more objectively. It's because I have done it before. As you create a to-do list, sometimes you just add things to it that's not even related to the things that you want to create or related to the outcome that you want to have, right? That happens. So that's step 1, is very important. Have a very clear direction, have a very clear objective of what exactly do you want the end looks like, meaning the result that you want to create. So once you figure out the answer, now you're able to look at your list more objectively and start able to move on to step 2. Step 2, ask this one question on every single item on your to-do list. Here's the question. What could possibly happen if you say no to that item, and why? When you ask a question in pair like that, what it does is it forces you to think objectively, not emotionally. So let's say you have 20 items on your to-do list and you think about the final goal that you have thought about from the previous step. Now you're gonna ask yourself, okay, if I say no to this item, is it gonna be a life and death to the outcome that I want to achieve? Is it gonna be a deal breaker? If I don't say yes to this item, is it gonna be like not gonna happen anymore? Or is it, if I say no to this item, really nothing is gonna happen, right? And make sure to ask a follow-up question, why? Because once you ask why, it will force you to think more objectively. Because I know how it is sometimes as an entrepreneur, we have a lot of emotion to tie to our project because we love what we do, right? There's a lot of things we want to make it better. The professionals come in, right? Or the other people that say, you need to do these things, right? So ask a question, what could possibly happen if I say no to this item, and why will force you to think a lot more objectively and able to make decision on what item you need to cross out. So once you finish 2 steps, imagine you have a list starting like this. Now the list is going to start shrinking, right? Hopefully to this size by that time. So that leads me to step number 3. Step 3. Now it's time to turn your remaining to-do list to an actionable plan. And here's how you do it. By asking this one simple question. The question is, when does this item become important? Because let's face it, everything else on your to-do list is important. But the key to turn a one-dimensional to-do list to a 2-dimensional action plan is figure out when do they become important. And here's how you do it. So here's what you're going to do. Let's say this is your remaining to-do list. What you want to do now is to draw a timeline. And once you draw a timeline, you want to pick 2 or 3 events that is significant to the outcome that you want to create. I'm just going to use an example on, let's say this is a product launch that you have a new product line that you want to launch it to the market and get some transaction, right? So a significant event would be starting to do marketing. Another significant event in this case would be when someone actually pay you, which is a transaction. So before you do marketing, there's a lot of things that need to happen. And then after you do the marketing, there's a lot of things to happen, like you have to convert that lead to an actual transaction. And after the transaction happens, you have to actually turn it to a fulfillment, right? So what you want to do right now is look at your remaining list, right? And look at each item, when do they actually become important? So once you complete this step, what you need to do next is to move the item from your to-do list to see which area does it fit. So let's say, okay, item 1 need to happen before marketing can happen. Oops, the 2 is been taken as well. And then let's say item 2 also need to happen before marketing. And then maybe item 5 needs to happen before marketing, and so forth, right? And then, okay, then now you look at the list and see, okay, you have all the things that happen before marketing can happen. So what happened between marketing and transaction? Well, maybe it's item 7 that needs to happen. And then maybe it's item 8, maybe it's item 10 as well. So you start moving them like that. And then the remaining item probably is for anything after transaction, right? And voila, as you can see it, before you have a one-dimensional to-do list that only keep you busy, and you may even do things out of the order that make no sense. And that's also overwhelming as well because there's 10 items on top of it, right? And now instead, you have a 2-dimension action plan that you know you need to execute this thing first, and then you move on to this area, the second area, and then you execute it in this order, and then you move on to the third area, and then you execute in this order. And there you go. You have just turned your never-ending to-do list to an action plan that actually gets you result. So here's homework. Look at your to-do list and ask yourself these 3 questions in the exact order. First question, what exactly do you want the end looks like? Second question, what could possibly happen if I say no to this particular item and why? Third question, when do they actually become important? And once you do that, you're now gonna have an actionable item that gets you huge result. If you like this video, I'd like to invite you to join my free webinar, which I'm gonna share 3 secrets with you and show you how to work less and make more. So click the link below, join the webinar, and I'll see you inside. Now it's time to turn your remaining to-do list to an actionable simple step, and you're able to turn your ever-ending. So follow this simple. Now your mind is allowed. And also make sure to ask the follow-up question, why? Because